Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And we are back for another episode. It's always weird not to ruin the magic for people when we do the back-to-back, because we chat at the beginning of the first one and it's like, okay, so now what do we chat at the beginning of this one?
We can chat about, there is a great little film out in theaters that you should go see. It's called Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On. And this started off as a little YouTube clip, a little YouTube animation that Jenny Slate, the comedian, she was on Saturday Night Live for only one season, but she's done a lot of stuff. She was in Parks and Rec and some other stuff. And she and her boyfriend at the time created this little short comedy, and it just went viral and became big. And then they've ended up putting an entire movie together, and it is just so poignant and cute. It's Pixar level storytelling. It's funny. It's heartbreaking. It's really, really, really good. Great for the whole family, PG film. So fun film to check out.
If you guys haven't listened to all 150 of our episodes and you don't know this about Tracy, when he says something is Pixar level storytelling, that is supremely high praise from Tracy Mangum. Like, it doesn't get much higher praise than that.
Although Pixar has kind of been lately, but you know,
okay,
still.
So they haven't been hitting Pixar level story.
Right.
Some of their stuff has been really, really good lately. Like Soul was really good.
Soul was great.
Luca, I thought, was really good. I think the hard thing is the last one we saw in theaters was Onward, and I think that one wasn't quite up to the same level of expectation that people have for Pixar.
And then Lightyear was okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, but it's a stop motion film. It's got this little shell who's got one little eyeball and a little mouth, and he and his Nana are the only ones left. The rest of his family got disappeared in a mysterious way, and so they're trying to deal with, because they don't have much of a community, they're just on their own, so they're trying to survive. And then the couple that live there has decided to turn it into an Airbnb, and a filmmaker moves in and meets Marcel and starts to do a documentary film about him. And it involves Leslie Stahl from 60 Minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Plays a key role.
Well,
but go on YouTube, check them out. There's I think there's 3 of them, and they're like 3-4 minutes each, maybe a little bit more. But just really, really cute. And this one just had a lot of really, really great lines in it.
But speaking of shells, now, Val, you mentioned that you were, after this, going to be making stuffed shells for dinner. So I feel like we've kind of got a story about a shell and now eating shells. It's just a whole mixture of stuff going on today for us with shells.
Now, I have seen photos of Val's Italian cooking.
Yeah, it's pretty epic looking. Yeah,
I have been traveling a lot, and during August, I'm pretty much not really going to be home.
Yeah.
And so I asked my daughter what she wanted for this family dinner, and she said stuffed shells. And I'm like, are you sure? I feel like I make that a lot for our family dinner. And she's like, that's what I want. And I'm like, okay, so I'm making stuffed shells. So that's what I'm doing after this. So
very nice. Awesome. And speaking of Sammy, congrats on her for hosting her first Poetry Slam festival.
Yeah, she's got a lot of poetry going on. It's really, the talent of slam poets in Utah is really cool. If you haven't caught any slam poetry, there's like every third Monday of the month or something like that at night. They're at a different place, but there's a lot of slam poetry happening. So
that's cool.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, this week we are talking, I don't have a good segue from slam poetry to this movie, unfortunately. But this week we are talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is just one of the classic films. Oh, Tracy.
Just question, how have we not discussed about this film until now? Like, we've done all these episodes, and how are we just doing Ferris Bueller? I'm like rewatching this, just kind of kicking myself.
I have an unpopular opinion about this movie, so.
Well, do we want to start with that, or do you want to kind of just let us go and then bring in the unpopular opinion?
Yeah, let's just chat, and I'll
All
kill your dreams all the way through this episode.
This may be why we haven't talked about it before. It's starting to make sense. It's all starting to come together now.
It's an 80s classic, though.
It is an 80s classic. It was fun watching it. It's one my wife was watching it with me, and I don't know that she's super familiar with it, but my wife is very much like, she follows the rules and she expects other people to follow the rules, and what she doesn't like is people who break the rules and get away with it. And so I'm like, so when you watch this movie, is Jeannie like your hero? Is she the protagonist for you in this movie? And like Ed Rooney, and like, and she just laughed because no, but
yes.
He's the female Ed Rooney.
Yeah. This movie is such a big, I don't know, part of growing up for me. I remember watching this a lot as a kid and as a teenager. I think it's one of those things where when you think about cutting school, you want to have one of those epic Ferris Bueller type days. And it usually ended up with you like hanging out at the gas station or something. Like, it never ended up being nearly as epic as his days were. But I don't know. It was just the epitome of like what you thought. For me, before I went into high school, it's what I thought high school life was going to be like, was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and maybe a little bit of Saved by the Bell. And it was neither of those things. It was neither of those.
Those were your North Stars, huh?
Yeah, those were mine, and I was disappointed on all fronts. For my kids, it's now High School Musical, the series. I have told parents a lot of point because it's not quite what school is like. But
Zac Efron was back in town recently.
He was, yeah. I don't know if he's doing an episode of High School Musical, the series.
No, it's just an anniversary, and so Bonnie Story, the choreographer, was also there taking some pictures, and some of the stars have kind of dropped in to just kind of take pictures, put it on social, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Well, we like Zac Efron. He can stop by anytime he wants.
Yeah, I agree with that. So my thing about this is that I think...
Oh, here we go. Strap in, Jake.
I'm ready.
I think that it is one of those, like, for a generation, it's one of those movies that if you say Ferris Bueller, or you say Bueller, or like one of the other 20 famous quotes from this movie, even if you haven't seen the movie, you know what movie we're talking about, right? So I think that that's cool. But for me, like, I feel like there was a lot of movies that came out in similar times that I could see myself or relate to a character. And in this movie, like, I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to be Ferris. I didn't want to be Ferris. And I relate to Cameron. I don't relate to Cameron. I do think Cameron is a cool character. I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of things that are kind of funny about it, but I think the movie's okay for me. Yeah, it's okay. I think it's one of those movies that has a lot of really great lines, but when you get down to like thinking to yourself, why is this movie a classic? I'm just like, it's okay.
That's fair.
I can see that as far as not necessarily relating to any of the main characters, because no, I was not a Ferris Bueller in high school, nor am I a Ferris Bueller now. And I wasn't a Cameron either. Like, I think all of us have moments where we feel like Cameron, but I don't think a lot of people are a Cameron where it's a constant thing. And if they are, I hope that they're getting the medical attention and help that they need, because I think he had severe depression. And
I was a pretty good Cameron.
Were you?
I was.
Okay.
But this one, to me, I don't know. And it'll be interesting to hear from our listeners, because to me, this is like you said, Jake, this was one that's kind of a seminal film. Like this was just part of my childhood growing up. And there's so many moments in this movie, like Val said, the Bueller with
Ben Stein.
Yeah. The Ferrari. I've got our friend of the program, James Owen, went to Chicago recently and went to the Chicago Museum of Art and recreated the three people standing in front of the photo and sent that to me and some stuff like that. And just, I'm with you, Jake. There's just something about, there are some days where you're like, why am I doing what I'm doing instead of doing what I want to do?
Yeah.
Like, it is so beautiful outside. The sky is like perfect blue. Why am I sitting in this office?
I get that. And I like all of those. For me, I just feel like the moments that we remember and the moments that we like and pull out of this movie are all great. But then when you look at the whole picture of the movie, out of all of the movies that came out of that time that I could relate to as a child, I feel like there's a lot of hype that goes around this movie and hyped parts, but the movie as a whole is okay.
Yeah, I think
like, I loved the museum part. I love the lady who plays the secretary at the high school.
Oh my gosh,
is one of my favorite characters ever. I love her. I love the principal. He was in a lot of different movies at that time.
Wasn't she in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yes, she was. She was the travel. She was at the rental car place.
Rental car. Okay, that's what I thought.
He drops the
another John Hughes
F words on. Yeah.
Right.
Take that effing smile off your effing face. Yeah.
Right. Effing now. Another John Hughes movie. There's something to me, it's interesting because it's a shorter film. It's like an hour and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They pack a lot into this movie. And I love the fact that it's not just wall-to-wall gags. Like there's some really nice moments of character where they're like, step aside and let them be quiet and just let the character, like when Cameron's talking about his dad at the end, and there's just some nice moments like that work.
There are, and I think that's what stood out to me a little bit this time as I watched it, because Val, I think you're right. I tend to, when I think about this movie, and I haven't sat down and watched it for a while, I think of all the funny parts and the quotable parts and the things those are the things that you remember and stand out. But then when you watch the movie, there are those quieter moments, Tracy, like you mentioned. I think I love that when he's talking about his dad at the end, toward the end of the movie, and how, no, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the heat for this because I need to. And like something just clicks about, like, he in that moment has decided, I'm not living for someone else. I'm living for me. And like, that is such a huge character moment for him. And even when Jeannie's sitting there talking to Charlie Sheen on the bench and he's like, so it bothers you that he cuts school and doesn't get caught. Sounds like that's a you problem, not a him problem. And like, there are those kind of moments that are in the film and sprinkled throughout, but really the Cameron story, when he is, catatonic, right, on the diving board and everything, like those are the parts that we forget about, but they are the parts that I think when you watch it, like, okay, but that's what John Hughes does so well when he writes a script, is he can do all these funny moments. I think of like movies like Uncle Buck, right, where there's all these great funny moments, and then there's these heartfelt moments in the middle of it, and you're like, wait a second, 2 seconds ago I was laughing at a ridiculous thing, and now I'm feeling something totally different. And I think that's a talent that John Hughes had as a writer. And then in this, he directed as well. And one of my favorite writers of all time, John Hughes.
I agree. He's got a great ear for dialogue. And it reminds me too, Jake, we talked about it a second ago, but just the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, when John Candy starts talking about how, you know what, I like me and I'm okay with me. And and it's just this genuine heartfelt moment inside all this craziness, which I think really makes it even a better film.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that when you look at Ferris Bueller's Day Off, even though it does have that cult icon status that it has, and it's one of my favorite films, it does deliver that moment, but I don't think it delivers it as well as like a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I agree.
And so and maybe that's where it falls short a little bit.
And for me, I don't think it would have been as successful as a movie if we wouldn't have had Matthew Broderick. And I feel the same way about the movie that we talked about last week, why they put Robert De Niro in that part instead of putting like a Helen Mirren, or, you know, like having her have a woman. And we didn't really talk about it, but it kind of made this movie made me think about it, is that they needed De Niro. They needed Matthew for this movie. You know, if you would have pulled Matthew out of the movie, I don't know if it would have worked as well, because he was so brilliant in this role and pulled you in every time he broke that wall, you know, because his character is kind of annoying. He's kind of annoying, like Jackass, you know? And so if you would have put anyone else in that character, the movie wouldn't have been as successful. And I think this role for Matthew Broderick showed that at such a young age, he knew what he was doing more than anyone thought he would. Because I don't think they knew what he could do. I think they thought he's a good looking kid. He's fun. He's going to be good. But what he did for this character, you know, made it iconic. It wasn't, the writing was fun. The writing was fun, but he made it iconic.
Yeah. And I would say just about every actor did, even Ben Stein, the teacher, they're very memorable characters.
Ben Stein has turned that moment, the Bueller Bueller moment, like, it is incredible to me how much that has led to like a huge career for him, because
When Ben Stein's Money,
all of that has come from that, from just having that dry, nasally voice.
He was the political writer, script writer for Nixon.
Yeah. And they're like, let's find the most boring sounding person we can to teach this class and to call this role. And it became so iconic that has launched him into this level of fame that, like, it is incredible to me. And that's not to take anything away from his talent, because he's super smart, super talented. But really, this is the moment that launches him into that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I love Jennifer Grey in this. I think she's hilarious in this as a sister.
Yeah.
Mia Sara is not the most talented actress, but she's okay in this. Although I did have a crush on her growing up.
Well, I mean, she's a girl. Like, I get it. And she seemed cool too. Like, I don't know. Sloane seemed cool. I don't know the actress at all, but well, and Jennifer Grey in this movie, like, she was the it girl she was in a lot of stuff at this time, and she really has a smaller role compared to like a Matthew Broderick in this film. But she does so well. Like, she steals the show when she's in it. Like, when she opens the door at the very end and like, oh, you found him. Thank you so much. Where have you been? You know, only Ferris would try to walk home from the hospital. He's so brave. Oh, by the way, you left your wallet in our kitchen. She's a good actress. I really like Jennifer Grey as a performer.
It's kind of interesting. She like you said, she was the it girl for a long time and then kind of dropped off. Has she done a whole lot lately? Anybody followed up with her?
For a couple of years, she like changed her nose and was like doing things. And then I haven't seen anything for a minute.
She's been in some smaller roles when they bring her in for that. Like,
a few things,
they'll bring her in as like here's Jennifer Grey, kind of, I don't know,
little cameo,
cameo type stuff. So,
but
I think she took a lot of heat when she made the nose change and things like that. But
I think she also took a lot of heat when she made Dirty Dancing and she was a pill to work with.
Yeah, that's also true.
I didn't work with her.
No, I know
that there was a lot of like stories about being like her and Patrick Swayze didn't get along at all.
No.
So that was some great acting.
Yeah. Well, Dirty Dancing, as big a movie as it is, I think that's where you put Patrick Swayze in the legend kind of category. The fact that he like broke his leg or whatever as he was doing those moves, and still, Patrick Swayze's awesome.
Yeah.
He's
incredible. Yeah.
He's also dead, but he's awesome.
Just because you die doesn't mean you stop being awesome.
Right. Just in case people didn't know.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Jeez.
That's like real life.
Spoiler alert.
But just the script is very clever. I love the situations that they put Ferris in. And I remember when this movie came out, there were like parents groups who were upset because he makes all the adults look like idiots. It's like, well, this is not a movie for an adult. This is a movie for the kids, you know.
Most of us are idiots.
Right. Yeah. But just the whole Sausage King of Chicago, that whole section is
really, you're the Sausage King of Chicago. Yes.
And then they got to Matthew Broderick's face and he's like, yes. You know, like he processes it for a second, like, okay,
right into it.
What am I trying to do? Okay, I got this, you know. You touch this phone and I will call foul.
The thing that's funny to me about parents groups getting upset about it because he makes all the adults look like idiots. Are they thinking that their kids are going to pull off what Ferris did? Because honestly, come on. Like all of us, that was the dream, right? But we all kind of knew we weren't going to achieve
When is
that
there
level.
a parade in the middle of a work week?
That was my question too. Like, what was the parade all about? Other than it was German heritage.
Number.
For some reason, I was thinking it was like a St. Patrick's Day, but I don't think it is. But that's kind of
no, because they're all Germans singing Dankeschön, and they're all in like German outfits.
And if that was St. Patrick's Day in that city, they'd all be not at work. It'd be closed down. They'd all be
true. That's what I thought of.
I just grew up thinking that Chicago just had random parades every week, and I would love to live there.
I'll find out. I'm going tomorrow. 2 days.
Nice. I've never been to Chicago.
I'll let you know if I just break out into song somewhere. Maybe what I'll do is recreate some of these moments and post them on our Facebook.
That would be awesome.
Are you getting a rental car?
No.
Oh, because we need that rental car shot
of like going off
with the Star Wars music,
with the Star Wars theme. I just practice Dankeschön. You'll be all set. You'll need that for the parade.
Twist and shout. It's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, twist and shout gets the crowd going quite a bit, and it got the crowd going.
It did.
Man, I've never seen a crowd that excited at a parade ever.
And I have to say too,
mixed people and cultures just like going crazy to that song.
Well, because everybody loves Ferris. That's what it comes down to.
I love how there are so many Deus Ex Machina moments in this where he doesn't get caught. Like when the sister's driving the car, he's running across the street, she slams on the brakes, and the mom's papers go flying, and then she's looking down, and then they're having that eye contact between him and his sister when he's running and his dad's driving next to him. You know, there's just so many. The one
and his dad looks right at him and doesn't recognize him.
The one that kills me is the when he catches the baseball at Wrigley Field and Rooney's watching on the TV and then starts cleaning off his suit. Just glances away at the exact moment that Ferris is on TV.
I think this is what the creators of Phineas and Ferb were watching when they're like, I know what we're going to do for a TV series. We're going to have them do all these crazy things and they'll never get caught by their sister because conveniently the mom will never see what they're doing.
Well, if
that's what I kept thinking.
Ferb was made, then I will like this movie a little bit more because I heart Phineas and Ferb.
It's what I kept thinking of. I'm like, it is just like their big sister. Mom, Phineas and Ferb. But they never, like, conveniently, everything just disappears before the mom comes out to see it. It just goes away. And that's what happened with Ferris over and over again, is conveniently something always worked out.
Was that a JFK doll in his bed? It looked like JFK.
Like a mannequin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird.
I thought it was just a mannequin. I don't know that it was anything.
But for some reason, watching it again, I was like, that kind of looks like JFK, but I could be wrong.
Interesting. I don't know, but I know he's not into any isms. We learned that at the very beginning. Ferris isn't.
Yes.
I love that.
And there's
What do I wear for a fascist whatever socialist or whatever? He's like, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. That is what every high schooler thinks about history and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't care. What does it matter what they're doing in Europe? It doesn't affect me. It does. It's fine. But kids are dumb. Not dumb.
kind of
They haven't experienced enough yet to know. That's what it is.
There you go. There you go. I was going to say, it's kind of fun that I like the fact that newer movies have like little references to Ferris Bueller. Like in Spider-Man, I can't remember which one it was. It might've been, it wasn't No Way Home. It was either Homecoming or I think it was Homecoming, where he's running through the backyards and he's talking, hey, how are you? You know, he's running through. And then you had Deadpool a couple of years ago where they recreated the end sequence with the, you're still here.
Yeah.
The movie's over.
Which is one of my favorite things, because I remember seeing that when I was younger, and like, you have to sit through the whole credits. First of all, because you want to see Edward Rooney in the awkward situation of getting on the bus and sitting next to the girl. And she asks like the weirdest question. I'll bet you've never smelled a real school bus before. Well, that's a weird thing to like. I bet you've never been in a school bus before or seen. But no,
well,
smell.
they smell because they smell. Like there is a very specific smell.
That's true.
When you say it, I can smell it.
That's true. But I just remember thinking as a kid, like, it was so cool that you would watch the whole credits because there was more to watch. Like, everybody else's credits are so boring. And then you get to the very end and you have his little end scene. Like, you're still here. It's over. Go home.
They were putting end credits in before Marvel.
Yeah. There you go, Val. This is the reason we have Phineas and Ferb and the MCU. All because of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Okay, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
I want my daughter out in front of the school right now.
By herself. No, not by herself. You better be there. No!
Cameron's voice is just so, it cracks me up in that scene. Like, listen here, Mr. Call me sir, damn it. You know,
frankly, you're an a-hole. Yeah, that scene is one of my favorites in the whole movie. And then when the follow-up, when they pick up Sloane and he kisses her. Oh, so that's how it is. Yeah. So that's how it is in their family. Like, no.
But I agree, Val. This is one that lives or dies by its casting, and this is pretty much pitch perfect.
Yeah. I think,
and I'm not a huge Broderick fan. Like, I've seen some of his other stuff, and he's okay, but this to me, and this
Godzilla. I mean,
like, I saw Election. I've seen some other stuff. The producers. Yeah.
This is a very different role for Matthew Broderick, and he shines in it, but like, he didn't grow up to be the cool guy. Like, no. Not that he's not cool. Matthew Broderick's really cool, but he's not like the leading man kind of cool, like you see in Ferris Bueller.
Sarah Jessica Parker. I mean, come on.
He's cool in a Matthew Broderick kind of way. I'm just saying, like, when you watch Ferris Bueller, this is a guy who grows up to be like, you imagine he's going to be somebody who's just always very, very cool and like a
very successful,
like my friend Tom Cruise. That's who you picture Ferris Bueller growing up.
That's true.
And that's not who Matthew Broderick is. And there's nothing wrong with who Matthew Broderick is. It's just very different.
Matthew Broderick's people are
that because he's just done a lot of Broadway musicals.
I think that's awesome that he's done. I can't imagine that Broadway musical is easier than being in a movie.
No, it's not. It's just some people take the cool factor out of.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, but it's also kind of one of those little.
Yeah. He is very talented, and he's an incredible actor
on Broadway.
This is true.
We see him topless on a beach with a whole bunch of 20-year-olds.
Look what I still got. Look at this.
I get you. I get you, Jake. I get you.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Matthew Broderick's awesome. I liked him in The Lion King. He was really good. Simba. And I did like him in Godzilla. I thought he was great in
Godzilla. When are we going to talk about that version of Godzilla?
We can talk about that version of Godzilla. We still have a lot of episodes to do before we're done with this little journey. Okay, all right, we got plenty of movies to talk about.
We're not gonna run out of movies.
No, I don't think we'll run out of movies.
Especially if we cover all the NATOs.
This is true.
Yeah, all the Sharknado movies. Once we get through all of those,
we'll start doing the Fast and Furious.
Oh. I'll trade you a Sharknado 4 for Fast and Furious of your choosing.
That is, I will say this about the Fast and Furious movies that I've seen.
How many Fast and Furious movies equal one Sharknado?
Like all of the ones that I've seen, and I've seen, I think the first 3, all better than Sharknado.
It's because they're all about family.
Well, yeah, it's all about family.
Except for the one.
Yeah, Tokyo Drift was a little bit weird. But it's totally different. I don't know.
I get to do a hopefully, I think, because it was on the list. I get to do a Fast and Furious all about family
that would be fun
panel at FanX.
Yeah, I saw that one on the list.
I've seen Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites. It counts.
I like that one.
It's kind of the Rogue One,
first one
of the Fast franchise.
Okay,
can I just say something about Rogue One that's going to upset a lot of Star Wars fans right now?
Oh, please don't upset a Star Wars fan because they're never unhappy.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say something about a Star Wars movie, so I'm going to upset Star Wars fans.
You said Star Wars, so people are pissed.
Yeah. Can we stop saying that Rogue One is the best of the Star Wars movies, please? Like, I loved Rogue One, but it's not the best of the Star Wars movies. It's good, but is it better than Empire Strikes Back?
No, but it's up there.
It's pretty good.
It's better than The Rise of Skywalker.
It's better than what?
The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, yeah. Sharknado was better than Rise of Skywalker. That's not true. That's a lie. That is a lie.
You had
I want you to put that in the tag so we can get all the views.
You had more fun at Sharknado than you did at Rise of Skywalker.
Well, yeah, because we were allowed to make fun of Sharknado out loud.
There was a lot of cheering. It was really fun.
We had to be professional. When we went and saw Rise of Skywalker, we had to be professional about it because it was a packed theater. This was packed with our people, so it was fine.
Yeah.
Totally different. I don't know. It just Rogue One is good, but it's not the best. It's up there fine, but it's not the best. I'm drawing a line in the sand. You can send the emails to me. That's fine. I can take it. I've been defending The Last Jedi since 2017. Trust me, I can take it.
And there's a tie-in to Ferris Bueller because of the Star Wars theme we already mentioned. So
yes, exactly.
It all
comes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's nothing more to say about this movie.
What? Well, you have to give us a grade first, a letter grade, and then that can be the last thing you have to say about this movie.
B-.
Okay. I'll take that. I don't want to dig any deeper into it because we've already heard, and I just don't want to ruin it for me. All right, Tracy.
So this one to me, I have not watched this in quite a while, but it's one that I would watch again. It reminds me so much of like just childhood growing up. I think it's a really witty script. I like John Hughes a lot. The casting is great. This is one that's hard to remove the nostalgia from. I'm just going to go A. This is one to me that's just one of those classics in my collection.
Yeah. This is going to get a double A rating. I'm going to give it an A as well. It's hard for me not to like this movie. Yeah. It's not the best John Hughes movie, but it's hard for me to put a John Hughes movie down lower than an A because I like his writing style. I like his stories. he was just so unique in how he, especially dialogue with young people, the way he would write young people was just really unique and interesting. But this is an A for me.
So that averages out to like a B+ between the three of us.
Yeah, I'll take that. If I got a report card that had 2 A's and a B- on it in high school, my parents would have been thrilled. I think that B- was like in math. They would have been like, okay, he's doing all right.
He's
We're
good.
Like worried about it. So
would they have taken you to Leatherby's?
No, my parents never
Leatherby's,
gave us a treat for good grades. Maybe I never got good enough grades, and that's why
we never really went to Leatherby's because it was
because you get diabetes there.
We did that too, but we would go to like Baskin Robin.
I'd rather be.
My whole world was shattered. Speaking of Leatherby's, when I was in San Francisco, because I found out while I was there that in Northern California they have Leatherby's.
Yeah. Oh, do they?
And it's like the original Leatherby's, but it's not owned by the same people as our Leatherby's. It is not a Utah original thing.
I thought it was.
Leatherby's started as a franchise of the Leatherby's in Northern California. Oh. And then a few years ago, like 10, 20 years ago, they kind of separated.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. And they separated from that. And now the Leatherby's here is family owned by the family that has owned it forever.
My daughter dated the grandson.
Yeah.
And he worked there. And so on the local Leatherby's menu, there are things named after the family of the local people so it's very localized here. So
it is really localized.
I don't think your dreams need to be shattered on the fact that they brought it here and they made it better, and that they're passing out diabetes to all of Taylorsville, Salt Lake City, and Midvale. But it's like one of those things you need to do at least once in your life. They do have the best cheese fries and dipping sauce, by the way.
Speaking of cheese fries and another Utah original, the Training Table is coming back.
Yes.
What?
I know.
Training Table is coming back.
Leatherby's may have the best cheese fries for now, but when Training Table comes back,
that's the only reason I say it is because Training Table doesn't exist anymore.
They are coming back.
They put on their website that they were coming back, and
did they just like take a little sabbatical?
I think
you haven't been in state for like ever, Val.
Yeah,
I think they started JCWs if I'm not mistaken, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Do they bring back the telephone ordering system?
And are they going to have little wipies at all the stations?
Right?
Or is it going to be a cell phone experience now?
And it's all you order via app, and you just say, I don't know. But as long as they have the cheese fries and the ultimate dipping sauce, I'm there for it.
Salads. Their taco salads were amazing.
Oh, Training Table was so good.
That's what reminds me. That was like my first gig in high school at the radio station, is going and setting up the DJ at the Training Table. And I was always excited to get that remote because I knew we were going to get free food. Like we'd set him up and he'd do his show. And then I knew I was going to get some free food from the Training Table. And it was like, well, are you going to get the cheese fries? Well, yes, I am.
Well, of course I am.
Like, of course you're going to get the cheese fries.
Is water wet? Come on.
Yeah. I love.
Well, we need to do a show from Training Table when it opens back up.
When they come back out and they're open again, I think that's what we need to do.
Let's do it.
In the meantime, next week we are going to come back, and I think we're going to talk about Marcel the Shell with shoes on. We're going to try.
If you guys get a chance, I know Val's
super busy, and we know that. But we will. You guys have probably noticed we were really good about putting an episode out every week. It's gotten a little bit hectic over this last summer.
A little busy.
Sorry.
And that's because we have made a decision that if we can't all three be on the show, we'd rather miss a week than try to interrupt that kind of chemistry. And so we are supportive of all of our adventures. Val has a few more than the rest of us, but all of our adventures we're very supportive of. And so we appreciate your patience as we've gone through the kind of this time of transition and we're getting it figured out.
It's as we mentioned in last week's episode with the intern, it's all about that balance.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So in the meantime, we won't see you at the movies. Thank you for listening. Send us all of your hate mail about my Star Wars opinions. It's fine. I can take it. And we will see you next time.
Bow, bow.
And Donka Shane.
This has been a Stolen Droids Media production.
Wait, you're still here? It's over. Go home.